Today is October 10th, 2022. My name is Rob Carr of Kalamazoo Right to Life, and this is Pro-Life Week. Well, a few things on today's program. First, Cori Bush is a very pro-choice congresswoman from St. Louis, Missouri, and she was on 60 Minutes the other day recounting her second abortion. She had had an abortion when she was 17, and then at age 19, she got pregnant again and was going to have her abortion. Right there on the table, she begins to have second thoughts and misgivings, and she tells the abortionist to stop. No, don't do it. And then, the nurse said, calm down, you'll be fine. And she says, no, I want you to stop the abortion. And the doctor ignored her, and he proceeded to perform the abortion. So I've got two thoughts here. One is, I thought the central component in the pro-choice movement is pro-choice, the right of the woman to choose whether or not she wanted to carry a baby to term or have an abortion. Pro-choice. But apparently, that's not always the case, especially in Cori Bush's case, where her choice was ignored. Second point is, it has to do with the issue of money. Abortionists make tens of thousands of dollars, if not more, killing babies. And it's a huge lucrative business, the abortion industry. And it makes you wonder if this doctor's cavalier attitude toward Bush was more because he wanted the money and less about meeting her healthcare needs, her needs to end her pregnancy. Because he didn't listen to her. He ignored her. It was money he was factoring in. At least that's what I'm inclined to believe. Second item, a few days ago, a panel on MSNBC was taking Republicans to task because as being cruel and oppressive because they are pro-life. Well, needless to say, there's no talk about the fact that killing babies in the womb was cruel, or that killing 63 million unborn babies since 1973 was an oppressive campaign to kill millions of innocent babies. Killing babies, that's cruel. It's just basic. Killing an innocent baby is a cruel act of barbarism. Okay. Next item. More Democrats running for office in the midterms are choosing to be very, very vague when asked how far into a pregnancy that a person could have an abortion. When challenged, they always go back to the talking points. Women have the right to choose. The government should not get in a woman's right to exercise her reproductive freedom. That's the talking point. Pro-choice, bodily autonomy, my body, my choice. Okay. Republicans cannot be weak-kneed when asked about abortion. When the pro-abortion people, when the Democrats are asked about abortion, the question is always asked in such a way that they can fall back on their own talking points. But when the reporters and journalists, who are themselves very pro-choice, when they ask a pro-life Republican questions, they always veer the question to trap them. They don't want to trap the Democrats, the pro-abortion people, but they want to trap pro-life Republicans. And very often it's over the issue of rape or incest. How dare you tell a woman who's been raped that she has to carry her rapist child? How insensitive. Things like that. But we need to turn the questions around when a GOP candidate is asked. They need to turn the question around. Ask the reporter, is the baby human? Should the solution to an unplanned pregnancy be killing innocent babies? Follow the science. Reporters were all on board during COVID. Mandates, vaccines will follow the science. Is the DNA for the baby the same DNA as the mother? Well, no, they're separate because they're separate individuals. Asked the reporter, have you ever seen an ultrasound? That image. Is that image the image of the mother? Well, of course not. It's the image of the baby because the baby is a separate individual than the mother. The reporter asks or gets to the issue of Dobbs and the Supreme Court's conservative activism. Remind the journalists that in 1973, when Roe was decided, only 17 states of the 50, so that's 34%, only 17 states had legalized abortion to some degree. Of that 17, 13 permitted abortion in the hard cases, rape, incest, or fetal deformity. But of those 17, only 4 had legalized abortion basically on demand, typically with no restrictions up until like the 5th or 6th month of pregnancy. Only 4 states, or 8% of the 50 states. So what did the Supreme Court do with Roe? They sided with the 8%, the 4 states that had abortion on demand. So the other 46 states were ignored. Even the 13 states that had modest pro-choice reforms, for the hard cases, their laws didn't hold up either because the Supreme Court went far, far beyond even the 4 states that had abortion on demand. Far beyond. This was judicial activism on the left. Let's face it, judicial activism can happen on the left or the right. But with Roe v. Wade, it was raw judicial power coming from the left. Typically, liberal reporters attack Republicans, like I said, on the issue of rape. How can you force a woman to carry a rapist child? Well, turn the question around. How can you kill an innocent baby for the crime of the rapist? Is the baby human? And it's not the rapist's child. It's the rape victim's child. Her child. The baby has committed no crime worthy of an execution. In fact, we don't give the death penalty to the rapist, but somehow we give it to the baby, the innocent baby. This is not how a civilized society responds to these kinds of situations. Okay. 4 days ago in Tennessee, 11 pro-lifers were arrested by the FBI and charged with violating the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act. Similar to the case about 2 weeks ago where a man from Philadelphia was arrested and charged with violating the same act. And if he's convicted, he would get 11 years in prison and a $350,000 fine. Well, his family started a GoFundMe, and in 2 weeks, the family has raised $252,000 for his legal defense. Well, praise the Lord for that. Good news that people are responding to this man's plight. But the situation in Tennessee, this FBI raid stemmed from a pro-life demonstration at a Tennessee abortion clinic back in March of 2021. So it's a year and a half ago. And at that time, these people were arrested. They were charged with trespassing, given just mild fines. And that was the end of it. Well, not so anymore with the Joe Biden Justice Department, because they are on the warpath to go after and target pro-life activists because they want to shut down pro-life dissent. That's all. There's no getting around to the fact they want to do it, and they have weaponized the FBI to do just that by arresting people, typically like at 7 o'clock in the morning, with guns, terrorizing these families. The Biden people are, they're upset because With Dobbs, they lost Roe v. Wade. So they are reacting in such a way to shut down pro-life dissent. And one of the wives of one of the 11 in Tennessee kind of did a little video on his arrest and how the FBI were just pretty belligerent. And it is on lifenews.com. So check it out, lifenews.com. The arrest coincided with the Biden announcement that he would use taxpayer funds to the tune of tens of millions of dollars in grants to pro-choice organizations or groups. Just another example of how the Biden administration is targeting pro-lifers. And, we've talked about this before. Several dozen pro-life and pregnancy care centers had been vandalized before and after the Dobbs decision, and not one single pro-abortion activist has been arrested for those acts of vandalism. Not one single person. But somehow, we're going to go after pro-lifers for things they did a year and a half ago. So, radical extremism coming from the Biden administration. And talking about radical, I'm going to finish with this, as I have in the recent past. Prop 3 is dangerous. It's confusing. It's an extreme and vague proposal that would legalize abortion through viability and beyond, for reasons of health, up to the due date. It would ban or outlaw parental consent, waiting periods, informed consent, clinic regulations or inspections for health reasons. It would get back in the books partial birth abortion, and there are so many things wrong with Prop 3. It's dangerous, and the wording, the 100-word summary that will be on your ballot, does not convey the radical nature of the actual proposed amendment that would be part of our state constitution. I've said it before, the devil's in the details, and that summary does not go into the details the voters need to make an informed decision on how they're going to vote. So, vote no on Prop 3. With that, I'll let you go. I will see you next time.